Good evening and welcome back to the last word here on KTN News. We're glad that you're watching tonight as we break down matters elections management as the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission continues to be under pressure to leave office. Coalition for Reforms and Democracy maintains Kenya should not go to next year's general election, which is approximately 15 months now away, with the IEBC as currently constituted. In the past, we have heard from several of the commissioners. I remember sitting down with the IEBC chair a while back, who, when put to the question of whether they would be willing to step aside, to allow for other people to come in, they said no, there's process to do that, and those should be followed. However, tonight, as we're hearing from Senator Bonny Khalwale, he's saying what they've resorted to now, which is the protest and marching to the IEBC offices, they maintain that that will eventually work. It will see them cave in. Definitely a story will continue to follow for you in coming days. Carol Werunga, who's also with us tonight, an electoral governance advisor for the Kenya Human Rights Commission. I want to bring this to you because there are those who are concerned, doesn't this set bad precedents? That if, on one hand, because Senator argued, those who say that there's only that legal process of removing them through Parliament are reading the Constitution through one eye, that yes, there's, going out, demonstrating, the picketing and all. However, there are those who would say there's still that very clear procedure. So in terms of bad precedents, are we setting ourselves up for then what is the next big thing that's going to come out? Who's going to want who out? What will they do about it that will not be really what's outlined in law?
What we need to understand also is that we are not trying to circumvent the law. The law is very clear. However, some of the issues that have been raised, and remember some of the stakeholders have been raising these issues to even close to 1 year or 2 years about IEBC issues on ABCD. However, there have been no resolve to that effect. You can't compare this process, especially something like election that is very emotive to Kenyans, to something like, the normal issues that we might encounter, like, for example, a by-election petition that requires you to go to court and, say on this ground ABC. We are dealing with a public institution, which is IEBC, an institution that has had issues since 2005, 2012. 2012, everything was fine. 2013, people believed things would be fine until the election day came. From there, there has been a genesis of ABC was not done correctly. This was not, can we change it? Can we do it technically? Can we have, IBC do ABCD? But people have come to realize it's not working that way. Where there's a legal process, the way you correctly put it, the senator has also said, we try to look at the law from that one-sided and say, this is how we want to do it. However, the issues that are being raised is what is making people look for other routes. And it's acceptable. Personally, I think if there's another route to take, why not take it? We are not saying that bend the law the way you want or disregard the law the way you want. But remember also, the law should be, Article 251 should be read with other articles of the Constitution. Yeah. So that we avoid just saying 251 says ABCD, so ABCD should be done. Are there any other ways that we can actually have what we want done in other processes? And that's why I think court supporters are feeling this is the only way we can go. This is the route that we can go, that we use the street action that is also the Constitution has also empowered us as the people of Kenya, that we can actually, as Kenyans, we are not going there as supporters of court, we are going there as Kenyans. Because no one was there on Monday to ascertain that this is court supporter, this is Jubilee, this is Amani. So you might not know, maybe actually the way you say, that they were not court supporters, all of them.
All right, Senator, to those who say this is because court lost in 2013, and go further to say the idea here is to bastardize the IEBC, so much so that no Raila, no peace. What do you tell those people?
Well, nobody has said that thing of no Raila, no peace. They just want to spin it so that they give the impression that Raila stands for violence. In fact, on Monday, if you saw the front page photograph of the former Prime Minister at the age of probably around 70, being tear-gassed and running for his life, I want to remind Jubilee that if they don't learn to respect Raila and the other core principles, then they should read the history of Rwanda. Rwanda impunity was so high, but by the time the plane exploded in the air is when they realized the consequences of knocking off a leader, a national leader. So supposing purely on medical grounds, the shock of what the former Prime Minister went through, granted his age, he collapsed. Has Jubilee tried to imagine what Kenya would be like if Raila was to collapse? Number two, it is important.
So for you, the police are acting in the behest of Jubilee?
Of course, they are serving Jubilee. What do you call it? IEBC is an extension of Jubilee. If it was not, why is it that Duale, Honorable Duale, held a press conference and announced the results of the Okoa Kenya signatures in the same words that were subsequently used by IEBC commissioners when they were dismissing us? Anyway, I've not come here to cry. I've come here to make a point. And the point I'm making is that on average, when you look at the age of the commissioners, you can say IEBC is a young commission. If it is a young commission, I want to appeal to Issack Hassan, the chair, tonight to go and read Article 73 of the Constitution that provides that a public officer should behave in a manner that brings honor to the office. Since Issack Hassan stole money through corruption, as evidenced
Allegedly?
Yes, I
do not want to, because he's not here to defend himself, so we don't want to.
He will come next time. Well, his contemporaries were jailed in the UK. Since they were found in this, does he believe that that brought honor to the office of the chair of the IEBC? He should do the honorable thing, i.e. lead the other commissioners in resigning so that we bring honor in accordance to Chapter 6, Article 73 of the Constitution of Kenya.
All right. So, it is...
That is not too much to ask for from a young lawyer like Issack Hassan, who has such a long future in this country.
But what if you're not successful? Because before we went on break, you said you will be. What if you're not? What if they, as they say in the street, kangumu, and they don't move? What will you do?
Sophie, I would want to, first, before you move to another question, I want to add something on what has been the issue that you raised about no Raila, no peace on issue. We should not look at this discussion, we should not frame this discussion around personality, because I think it has moved away from personality.
Exactly.
What Kenyans are trying to say, and the duty bearers should actually listen to what Kenyans are trying to say. Kenyans are trying to say, or they are calling for a transparent, credible, free and fair electoral process come 2017. And what makes, or what are some of the things that make citizens or voters believe that actually this process is free, credible, transparent, and accountable, is that number one is the people who are managing and conducting that electoral process. Number two is the another stakeholder that is very critical is the political parties. If you move from there, voters tend to listen to what political parties or leaders are saying. If you listen now, the narrative is that we have some leaders saying that we don't have trust in IEBC. This, the way you are asking, so if they don't succeed, move it away from code not succeeding. What does it mean for a Kenyan as a voter?
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let me read some of the feedback that's coming in tonight, Wilson. G. Githongo, you are saying that, he's actually directing this to you, Carol, saying that, unfortunately, the human rights, the lady from KHRC, I beg your pardon, Kingereza, is talking on behalf of CORD, that's what he's saying, and not protecting human rights of all. Joseph Ochich, no protest is also provided in the Constitution, and therefore everybody has a right, not Raila alone, so people should be able to go out and protest. Boniface, of course, yes, because he clearly knows how to do such things as a leader if he's truly a people's voice. Let's see who else. I love Kenya. You say Khalwale is code. Well, yes, he is. Gitonga Githinji, yes, he should abandon his rogue ideas if he wants to depict himself as one who respects the law. Mika Kipkorir, if he abandons the protest, there wouldn't be any drama that attracts media attention to his political cause, and many others of your tweets tonight. We thank you for tweeting in. Keep doing so. So, Senator, let me indulge you in as far as, so fine, you have your way. They leave office. So IPPG is what you're hoping would be what we're looking at, where the parties come and have a new team in place. And we have about, what, 15 months to go to the next general election. It's a tall order. Not only do we have an election, we have 6 pretty much elections happening in one day. And a lot of the blunders that I witnessed in 2013 were alluded to, it was said it was because of not proper preparation, things coming in late. So you have a fresh team with a very short period of time to prepare for an election. Are you not concerned still that what you're proposing as a solution could prove to be your biggest problem yet?
No. There are 2 arms to IEBC. You have the commissioners who are in charge of policy, and then you have the secretariat. The secretariat is not going to change. The secretariat takes instructions from the commissioners. So because the commissioners have lost their independence... But it's the secretariat
that conducts the election. So if you do not, it's all the commissioners who are in the clerks and all these. They're not the ones in this, conducting the election. So if you're not happy with the manner in which they've conducted the election, that was not the commissioners.
Yes.
That was the secretariat.
I want to emphasize that Kenyans should not be afraid that when we remove the commissioners, we will make it the IEBC, shall I say, incompetent? No, it will not, because the commissioners are in charge of driving policy. But the secretariat who do the technical things will still be there. These are professionals who are at the mercy of commissioners. So because the commissioners are being controlled by Jubilee, even where the secretariat, the experts, want to do the right thing, they're driven the other way. I must insist that I must answer you.
Drivable to the other way. Who says this? It's not going to happen again.
I should respond to your question that if we fail, then what happens? We are all men and women of this country. If that comes to be the case, then as we say in psychology, then Murphy's law will apply, i.e., what must happen will happen.
Which is what?
That is Murphy's law. And we don't want to go that route.
So translate it to someone watching tonight and hearing you say what must happen will happen?
Yeah, we are leaders. We want to make sure that we don't leave the lives of our children, the future of the country, in the hands of fate. We want to manage the process. Jubilee is being selfish. They are saying that because they were pronounced to be the managers of the country, then they know it all. We have quite a lot of respect for some of the ideas they have, but those good ideas could give way to better ideas if they brought on board some of the suggestions we are making.
All right.
Yes.
So reconcile that for me, if you may, that on one hand, the secretariat does most of the work, and it is where people have a problem with the manner in which work a lot of the IEBC mandate has been conducted. And so remove commissioners, you still have the secretariat. Does that solve the problem?
Remember, first of all, IEBC has tried to reform the secretariat, and you can see they have a new CEO. They have said they have gotten resources, human resources that they didn't have, people they believe in. And personally, I don't think people have issues with the Secretariat.
Which does most of the work?
Yes, but they receive direction from who?
Precisely.
Okay.
Yes, but also just to bring up a point also with regards to the tenure of the commissioners. Remember their tenure comes to an end in November 2017.
Right.
Yeah. So what does it mean for us? Remember, we're having election in August 2017. When you have commissioners leaving office November 2017, just some 3 months after they have conducted the elections, what happens to the process that will emanate from that process? For example, issues of by-election, issues of any petitions that will, any issues that will have come out of the 2017 electoral process. Who do we hold account when it comes to that process when someone is already out of the office? So even if we do not want to accept that we might need some changes in IEBC, I'm not saying that we disband the IEBC if the way code supporters are saying, various stakeholders will have their own opinion.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying that we should be aware that come 2017, November, the commissioners will be leaving office. As Kenyans or electoral stakeholders, we should start preparing for that. Do we wait until November 2017, they get out, then we start a process of getting new commissioners in, and if that process starts, then who are we going to hold account for that, for the 2017 electoral process?
And in addition, the commissioners should start hearing what Justice Mutunga is saying. Justice Mutunga is saying, I could have retired next year, but because I love this country, let me retire a little bit earlier so that I give room for a proper, a substantive Chief Justice to be identified, to be in charge of the election. Kenyans, listen to us. There is the possibility that there will be no outright winner on the 8th of August 2017.
Yeah, a 50+1.
Yes, so if we are going into second round and you have commissioners who are packing to go, then who on earth is going to conduct?
Round 2, they're still able to do it because the Ombudsman had given an advisory on the same.
Yes,
but
they did.
The IEBC has to come out to clarify and say, in fact, we needed to go to a second round, they'd still be able to conduct it. They'll be well within their timelines to do so. It wouldn't trickle down the election cycle to as far as when their terms expire. But our time is up, so I'm going to give each of you a minute to give your closing thoughts. I'll begin with the lady on this matter tonight.
This matter of election management in Kenya, we are very aware that it's not an easy task. Issues of building confidence in our public institution, even leave alone IEBC and alone, there's issues of also judiciary. Remember that it has its own issues. And Supreme Court is one of the key electoral stakeholders when it comes to election.
Right.
So we need to be aware as Kenyans of the challenges that we are facing right now. And it will be very important for us as Kenyans to start acting now because we do not have time. As we speak, we only have, I think, 457 days to elections. We do not have time as Kenyans. Hence, any proposal or any way that we think that can be used to make sure that we feel that the process is free, fair, and credible, we should start doing it now. So my call to Kenyans that we need to be aware of the challenges that we have and we look for solutions to how we can address these challenges moving towards 2017.
All right, Senator, finally.
Khalwale, not Haniri.
I said Senator, finally. Oh, you had Haniri.
I didn't say Haniri.
No,
but Haniri is younger than me, so it would be more appropriate for you to...
I said Senator, finally. Okay, please.
Yes, it is regrettable that we have been forced by circumstances as opposition leaders to take this hardline stand. It is also regrettable that the president, in response to our hardline stand, he's also taken the hardline stand that has been reported today. My appeal to the president is that we are all children of this country. Let him come, we reason together. He has nothing to gain, we have nothing to gain. All we have is that we have everything to lose. So if we reason together, we will be able to put a new IEBC in place, and Kenya will move on in tandem with the expectations of his own children, who I have seen through the media, and in tandem with my own children and Madam's children, who have not been seen on the media. We're also parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Senator Bonny Khalwale, Kakamega County Senator, and Carol Werunga, who's Program Advisor, Electoral Governance at the Kenya Human Rights Commission, with us tonight on The Last Word. And we thank you for joining us as well, and your tweets this evening. Always appreciated when you take the time to tweet in and participate in our conversation. Have a good night. So we'll see you again tomorrow from our Mombasa Road studio. Tonight we're coming to you from our City Center studios. Have a good night.